People say they can't draw. Well, I challenge that. I think it depends on the way you draw. Some people are sort of fixated on drawing something that looks exactly like the thing that they're drawing, whereas I like to draw to suggest the object that I'm drawing so that nobody is unsure what it is that I'm drawing, but I'm not slavishly trying to reproduce it. So the way that I like to draw is called blind contour drawing, where I just look at the flower and draw without really looking at what my pencil is doing on the paper, so that in the end you get sort of a feeling of the object that you're drawing, but it's not a photographic type drawing. So with this red pencil here, I am drawing the hibiscus, and I'm coming in with the leaves, and these drawings are predominantly linear drawings because I'm really just looking at the shapes of the outline. And to make it a bit more interesting, I thought I might just add a little bit of collage onto the page as well. So I've ripped up some little bits from a sort of a scrapbooking pad, and they give a different sort of line and a different sort of paper as well, and a sort of an edge and a different colour of paper. So I don't want these to be all that visible, just peeping through the layers really. So the first thing I do is put a little bit of white paint over the top, and when that's dry I'm going to come in and sort of block out the areas of this painting. So I've got the green where the leaves are going to go, and I've got two flowers, one bigger, one smaller, and I've put the sort of pink paint in there, and then I'm bringing white over the top and just wet on wet, kind of, just sort of spreading that around, and then putting in a slightly deeper colour pink, and then now bringing in some line with this paint pen. So I'm building up layers, and I'm just, you can see here, I'm just building up sort of where things are going to go and building up layers and depth on the painting. So now I'm coming in with quite a much darker paint pen, and once again I'm sort of looking at the flower and drawing what I see in this sort of blind contour way, and I don't want to, I'm just sort of suggesting shapes and edges really. And now with this is a Neo Colour crayon. I've just put some patches in there, and I'm coming in with a different sort of marker. This one wasn't overly successful because I think these ones have dried out a bit. But anyway, now a little bit of water to move that Neo Colour crayon around a little bit. And when that's dry, I'm adding in some darker, thicker, more opaque green paint, sort of in the shapes of the leaves, but once again not slavishly sort of trying to draw exactly as I see them, but just sort of suggesting that the shapes of the leaves. And now I'm bringing in a bit more sort of yellowy paint there, and now I'm suggesting the sort of twig, the stem of the plant, and just with this paintbrush and a bit of brown paint, and now adding some depth and building up depth into these flowers as well. So it's a matter of looking at contrast, light against dark, and keeping within sort of the colour palette of the flower, adding little details. So you can see here the stems are quite dark, they're quite dark there, so I'm going to want to come in and push them back a little bit more and make them not so heavily dark. And I come with some paint. Now I'm bringing black in here because I want to suggest the sort of shadows and things going around the thing, and I'm also creating an edge and an outline, and I quite like that contrast. And now with some ink, just dotting that around, and I'm wanting to get some darker, some more depth in these areas, and sort of moving it about so that it's not just in one area. Once again, I'm sort of I want to feel like the wind is blowing and there's nothing is in one place. So, and I'm using this bottle as a mark making tool, pressing it into the wet ink and spreading that around. I want the sort of accidental marks to help build the layers. Now I've got a fine brush, and with some orangey paint I'm getting some line, and now I'm coming in with a sort of a brown ochre paint pen, and I'm drawing lines of leaves and things into there. Now coming through with more light paint, looking at lights and darks, and trying to get those strong contrasts in the flowers there as well. And then coming in with the black, more black, and I want to get some colour into the darks. So I've brought some brown, and then I want to bring some line onto the black. So playing around with this lovely paint pen. And that's the finished painting. I actually brought some light paint over the top of the black around the edges at the top and at the bottom left, just because I thought there was a little bit too much black there. But that was fun. Have a go yourself.